Okay, let's take a look. I've just got 4 letters, I think. That's all I could find in the group. I'm not having a live session today. I don't have time and nobody comes in any case. And if anybody does come, they don't ask questions, so it's kind of pointless to me to have a live session. Is it not? However, let's get on. So, who is this? Yahuma. Right, I'm not sure if I've spelt that. I might have spelt your name wrong, sorry. I think that's... Okay, thank you for seeing Miss Larissa Zanita for the American Magic. Now, if you put the DOB here, we don't have to put the age here. And who cares if she's a marketing manager? What's that got to do with anything? Who is presented with? So why is this past tense? She is presented with? Who's, who is presenting? Or who presented with? So, right. We've got a couple of options here in terms of tense. So it could be who presented with. So they came to see you in the past, who presented with failure to conceive, or who is presenting, it's ongoing. So present continuous, presenting ongoing. Yeah, so okay. We could either do it like that, or maybe so I'm saying we don't really need that as such. Presenting with failure to conceive, she requires further evaluation and the care plan. I'm tempted to just say thank you for. So I'm writing to request your further evaluation and a care plan for Mrs. Larissa Zanita, who is presenting or who is complaining of or who presented with failure to conceive. You could do it like that. Then all your important information is right at the start of a sentence. I am writing to request your further evaluation instead of thank you for seeing, etc. That's how I would do it. Now, Larissa, right, you don't use the first name unless it's a kid, right? So Mrs. Zanita. If it's an adult, don't use the first name. I say, if it's a kid, has a 4-year-old son, and what's that got to do? So, if you're gonna include information, you need to make something of it. You don't just, oh, by the way, she's got a 4-year-old son. And what about it? She stopped taking OCP, over-the-counter, was it? No, oral, that's OTC, isn't it? Oral contraceptive pill, since she was planning for pregnancy. So we've got 2 disjointed sentences here, and I'm not really sure what we're supposed to make of this. So if you put something like regarding her family history or social history, med history, she has a son from previous pregnancy. I can't remember if she's had any abortions or anything. Can't remember. I've seen the case notes before, but not for a while. One reason I'm not looking at the case notes is because of copyright issues. So I'm just commenting on the writing as I see it. And as I've mentioned before, if your writing's good, if the letter contains all the sufficient details and information, I shouldn't need to see the case notes, because you should present the letter to me and it should have, reader, examiner, and it should have everything in it that we need. So we wouldn't need to refer to the case notes, if you see what I mean. So, as far as son, she's taking a piece of planning for pregnancy. Initially, on 17, Mrs. Zanita presented complaining of tiredness and insomnia due to stressful job. What, a stressful job, her stressful job? We need a pronoun or an article. She was also planning for a pregnancy. therefore she was prescribed sleeping pill. What? Prescribed a sleeping pill with sleeping pills? You need to make grammatically complete sentences here. Okay, you know, so she was also, again, we've got disjointed information, right? So she presented complaining of tiredness and insomnia due to her stressful job. Now, this therefore refers to that. So why? So adding this sentence here doesn't make any sense, because therefore refers to the complaint of tiredness and insomnia. Yeah. So this needs to move. So, and you would have to say something about the issues it might involve. You know, she was anxious because she couldn't come like Steve or something. But just having this sentence here in the middle of this, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't really explain anything. It's just kind of dropped in out of nowhere, you know. And what's the tiredness and insomnia got to do with your request? So you are writing to request further evaluation of her failure to conceive. So this is, you know, this information that you're presenting here, I'm reading this, and there's only one part of a paragraph, this particular sentence, actually refers to your request. So I'm not quite sure what is going on here. Okay, on Mrs. Anita's subsequent visit. Hang on, Mrs. Anita's subsequent visit. She reported with the same problems. Tiredness and so there's nothing in this paragraph here in this initial paragraph. There's nothing here about her failure. All it says was she was planning, so she's got a general intention of having a child, but that's it. You know, there's nothing else. You haven't said that it wasn't working, she was anxious about it, and this wasn't working, and etc. You haven't said anything about it. So reported with the same problems, what? Tiredness, insomnia, and so here you didn't say there was a problem. You simply said she was planning for a pregnancy. Okay, that's not a problem. It's a plan. Intention. If you said it wasn't working, then that's a problem. So same problems, presumably tiredness, insomnia. She was assured that it took longer time, or a longer time, a long time for natural conception. Or longer than what? I mean, you're using a comparative, but what are you comparing it with? Longer, it's comparative. What are you comparing it with? For natural conception. On 1719, Mrs. Zanita, because I can't be bothered to type it out, was anxious regarding her fertility issues. Her examinations were insignificant. I think you mean unremarkable, because that's not the same thing. Okay. She was prescribed to take. So either she was advised to take or she was prescribed, not she was prescribed to take. She was prescribed a Valium. Now, who prescribed it? Was it you? So why is it passive? Yeah, passive. Now, you can use passive. You're supposed to use a mixture of structures, but only when appropriate. If you perform some action, you know, why don't you simply say, I prescribed? Okay. Okay, so let's have a look. An advice to come with a partner in next visit. In next visit. On the next visit. On the next visit. Okay. So, is this the next visit? She was advised to come with her partner. Her partner didn't have erectile. Is it a partner? It's a husband, isn't it? Partner, husband, and partner. Partner, it's usually if you're not married, but it's Mrs. as Anita, and I think from the case notes it's a husband. So what's the connection? So she was advised to come with her partner. So is this supposed to be the next visit? So why is it in this particular paragraph? Why don't you say, on the next visit, she returned with a husband, and this happened, and that happened, and this happened, etc. A partner didn't have erectile dysfunction. Good for him. I'm glad to hear that. Loss of libido. But again, this has just come out of nowhere. Your semen analysis, what? Did you analyse it there and then? You know, didn't... I believe in the case notes there was something about when she came with a husband, he wasn't that keen. He's away, I think, 2 weeks out of 4. There was quite a bit in the case notes I seem to remember. He wasn't concerned. He knows it takes time. He was reluctant to have an examination, blah, blah, blah. So you could have put in that there. Semen analysis was normal, observed on his today's report. On his today's report? What you mean on his report today? Okay. In view of the above, I am referring Mrs. Zanita for further management. Should you have any query or queries, please contact me. Now, this looks a little bit short. I didn't check the word count. I can have a quick look now, but I've put some comments on it. So 162. I thought so. Way too short. Way too short. There's lots of missing information here. Lots of missing details. Lots of missing information. It doesn't make sense. There's a lack, because of its missing information, there's not a logical flow to the letter. So I have no idea what is going on here. So I think you need to do a bit of work on that. So let's have a look at this next one. As I've said before, you don't need a period, Mr., Mrs., Ms. Don't need it. Thank you for... Oh dear, what is this sentence? I love it. Has anybody seen this in E2 videos or in Swoosh? Has anybody seen this? Where do you get this sentence from? So what do you want me to do? Thank you for seeing Ms. Tarbellin. And what is it you want me to do? Your further management will be highly appreciated. Appreciated by whom? By you? By her? What is it you want me to do? No idea. I've got to come down to the end. Oh, you want me to discuss with her how to control her glucose and maybe give her an insulin pump. Well, that should be here too in the introduction. Purpose. The new criteria. August, coming soon. Why am I reading this? What's your reason for writing? Okay. So she's single and lives alone. You don't say. Okay. A single woman and lives alone, is a moderate smoker, and this has got what to do with anything. Okay. She has essential hypertension, 7-year history. Oh yes. Get rid of that. Period. You don't need that full stop. She was essential for which. Why is there a comma there? And why isn't this part of a sentence? This can be part of the previous sentence. Essential for which she was commenced on. However, she was not compliant with the instrument. Oh, somebody's calling me. Hang on. Back in a second. Okay. I'm back. Sorry, just had a call. One of my students. Okay, so what was I saying? Okay. Compliant. Advices, we don't use that now. We say adherent because it implies unequal doctor-patient relationship. So apparently we're not supposed to use it. Adherent with adherent to her insulin regimen. As a result, she experienced, now because we don't know when, present perfect, she has experienced multiple episodes of diabetic ketoacidosis. Please note she is underweight. Okay. On the 2nd or 4th, Miss Taberlin was admitted. Now, I don't know if it's it says discharged, so she must have been admitted to hospital, because it just says admitted, so that's passive. Was admitted to hospital, I think, with diabetic ketoacidosis. Insulin IV fillers were administered until she became stable. Today's review, she was well. Nevertheless, she was still not compliant. Right. I'm confused here, and I'm going to explain why. So, admitted. So it says here, in light of the above, Miss Taberlin is discharged today. Okay, so that must therefore mean that she was admitted to hospital, hence the discharge. Okay, on today's review. So, how can she be not? If she's in hospital, how can she not be compliant or not adherent? Because she doesn't have a choice. If she's at home, right, then she's not injecting. But if she's in hospital, then how can she not be? She's not going to refuse when the nurse comes round with an injection. So that doesn't make sense. As well as not finding working with that. And again, if she's in hospital, so again, I hope you can see why I'm not clear what is going on here. Recommended diet. So if she's in hospital, then you eat what you're given or you don't eat. So how can she not be following her recommended diet if she's admitted, discharged, which infers that she's in hospital? So I'm not sure what is going on here. Thus, some techniques regarding stimulation and inspiration and investigations were discussed. Necessity of in the month was arranged. She's discharged today. It would be greatly valued, would it? Okay. Appreciated if you could discuss with her how to control glucose levels, including the possibility of an insulin pump. So I'm not clear what is going on here. No idea. As I say, I'm not really sure what is going on, what the chronology is. Is she in hospital? Is she not? Is she in? Is she out? If she's in, then this is nonsense. If she's out, why does it say she's discharged today? So, no idea what is going on there, and the examiner would mark it accordingly. Okay, what else have we got? A writing to request. That's it. Very good. Further assessment and management. Mrs. Santini, whose features are suggested Baker's cyst, right knee, a Baker's cyst, and long worsening osteoarthritis. That's good. Regarding Mrs. Santini's medical history, she underwent, I think this is one particular operation, you can count it, a lumbar laminectomy and bilateral hip replacement surgery. Because it's both, we don't have to make it countable, because it's obviously, we don't have to say in the year, I'll just say in 2008, 2010 respectively. That's good. In addition, she has had osteoarthritis since 2003, hypertension, hyperlipidemia since 2000, which and I don't know why that's not part of that, but still. But anyway, that paragraph's good. Okay, Mrs. Santini presented with a 6-week history of progressively increasing pain in right flat knee joints, special and extension. Okay, additionally, she reported having a soft lump on the back of her right knee. Apart from that, a joint mobility. Well, it's not apart from that, is it? It's as well as that, because it's not aside from something else, So it's additional. So as well as that, not apart from. That means something else. As well as that, her joint mobility was restricted, and activities of daily living were also reduced due to the pain. However, her examination findings were unremarkable, except that concomitant crepitus was noticed in both her knee joints. Not her both her knee joints. Or in simply both knee joints, especially on flexion and extension. Besides, an MRI report showed degeneration consistent with osteoarthritis. Besides, don't use besides. However, I would just say her MRI instead of besides. You could just say her MRI, or also additionally her MRI report showed degeneration consistent. However, no need for that comma. Her other test results were normal. Consequently, a referral to the district nurse were made. Okay, in light of the above, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, you have to have it. It's called the dummy subject because there is no it. But you can't greatly appreciate if. You greatly appreciate it if. Okay? You can evaluate the patient as possible necessary management. Right, that's pretty good. Pretty good. Very minor complaints about that. Very minor. So, not bad at all. Right, this last one here. I'm writing to request your further assessment manager, Mrs. Clark, whose features are suggested. Right. We don't need this here in the introductory sentence. Don't need it. It should be, in fact, somewhere here. We don't need it in the introduction. We need it somewhere here. Mrs. Clark was husband and son, worth mentioning, having been a smoker. Okay. That's the best place for that sentence. Initially, on the 4th, Mrs. Clark presented to my clinic complaining of sore throat or having a sore throat, body aches, fever, and cough. Subsequently, therefore, though we don't need that. Therefore means as a consequence of, subsequently means following afterwards. So, subsequently, I don't know, you would probably put therefore or consequently. Not, because it's a direct result of this. So, subsequently, I tell you what, because we don't need them both, I would get rid of this, and we don't need it a separate sentence, make it part of the same sentence. Okay, therefore I commenced her on oral augmentin. That's better. Okay, today, on 25th, Mrs. Clark attended my clinic, 7-week history of non-productive cough, of a non-productive cough or non-productive coughing, which were associated with showing everything heaviness in her chest. However, there were neither hematosis, fever, night sweats, rigor, nor exercise intolerance. On examination, signs of consolidation as well as wheezing, as well as an abnormal wheezing sound was detected right along. Consequently, I ordered a chest X-ray CT scan. Mrs. Clark, results revealed lies right here. My provisional diagnosis is bronchogenic carcinoma, and therefore I refer to Mrs. Clark to tests, including a bronchopathy of the lung. That's very good. Very good. Very good. I haven't got a lot of comments to actually say here. As I said, I would just move that sentence into the history paragraph because it doesn't make sense there. Make that part of the sentence with therefore. Countable noun. Countable noun. Countable noun. That's pretty good. Okay. That's pretty good. Very good indeed. So that's good. That's good. Not very clear what's going on in this particular letter. This one needs a bit of work. It's far too short, lots of missing details and information. So you can see I've got quite a mixture here of abilities. This one needs a fair bit of work. This one, not too clear what is going on. Okay, the layout, the sequence of events could be made clearer, I should say. And these last two are pretty good. So, not so bad at all. Right. I hope that helps. That's going to be the last one for a while. We've had 10 days now, a live class or video a day till the exam. I hope it's been of help to you all. And I'll see you sometime, possibly next week.